YouTube, Warstu here, and Baz, the dog. What an episode of Arrow 100, Season 5, Episode 8, the 100th episode, the second episode, third episode technically of the crossover. So good, so much to talk about. We've seen the return of Deathstroke versus Arrow, these two guys going at each other. Such a cool episode. So this episode started with the prerequisite of Ray Palmer, Sarah, Thea, Oliver Queen, John Diggle being taken at the end of the Flash crossover episode from Tuesday night. So it started off with them in an alternate universe where Oliver didn't get on the boat, he is not the Arrow, his father and mother are alive, Laurel's alive. So it's the perfect universe, but you could tell from the get-go that all was too good to be true. It started with Oliver going for a run, coming back, Katie Cassidy, Laura Lance was in the shower. You could see a ring, so it was a few days before they were due to get married. But you could tell that Oliver knew something was up. So there were little jokes back to when he was the kind of playboy, having fights with paparazzi, kind of really cool. Me being such a big Green Arrow fan, it was homage to Arrow. There was so much goodness in this episode. It wasn't really much to do with the crossover. 75% of it was pure Arrow. So I'm glad they didn't disrespect the Arrow 100th episode, which not a lot of TV shows actually get to. So in this universe, John Diggle turned out to be the Green Arrow. I know what people are going to say. John Diggle is Prometheus. Clickbaity bitches are going to say John Diggle is Prometheus. I might even do it, but no, John Diggle is not Prometheus. It was so cool how John Diggle was Prometheus. I mean, when we seen the Merlin building, I expected it to be Tommy Merlin was Prometheus. Tommy Merlin was the Green Arrow in this alternate universe that the Dominators have subconsciously put them into for a specific reason, to keep them distracted, so to speak. But what's interesting is everyone who was in this hypnosis kind of alternate universe didn't have powers. So we had Supergirl, Kara, the Flash, Barry Allen, still being back on Earth, trying to figure out where they were with the help of Cisco, Felicity, and the rest of Team Arrow, but not Artemis. Cisco is really starting to piss me off. He is becoming the new Felicity, in my opinion. Yeah, it might be Barry's fault why his brother is dead, but seriously, it's really starting to piss me off now, to the point where it's ruining his character. Hopefully, they sort this out next week, and it's all good. So, within this alternate universe, they were due to get married, and Katie Lotz, who plays Sarah Lance, she starts to remember where she touches Laura Lance's kind of necklace, which is a canary. Then she remembers she's an assassin. Oliver kind of missed his rehearsal dinner, and then she's like, "You're lucky I'm not assassin, I kicked your ass," and that's kind of like homage to her actually being an assassin. So the more and more the episode goes on, Ray Palmer remembers who he is. He meets Sarah for the first time. He's like, "Don't I meet you? Don't I know you? Don't you know you?" But later on in the episode, they do actually admit to knowing each other, and Oliver realises that they have to get out of this universe. Smoke Industries is a building that's there, and Felicity has never kind of had a building. She doesn't own a building. Although it's interesting, she is still working with the Arrow, who turned out to be John Diggle, which is quite cool. And Ray Palmer is engaged to Felicity, which is kind of funny because that did nearly happen. So that's kind of funny. Rocking that red monster, pretty sick. My boy really enjoyed the episode of Arrow, didn't you, buddy? He really enjoyed it. He loves his Arrow. So Thea wanted to stay in this alternate universe as her mother and father were alive. Now what was pretty cool was Deathstroke was killed by Sarah Lance, and then later on in the episode we had like a Marvel Civil War trolling out of it, where we had Thea, Arrow, John Diggle, Ray Palmer, and Ray Palmer, sorry, facing off against Damien Dark. Sarah Lance got to kill Damien Dark in this alternate universe. Deathstroke was killed by Arrow, so it's like Deathstroke versus Arrow Part 2. And then we have Ray Palmer kind of getting his ass kicked, kind of fighting, killing the kind of Deathstroke, other kind of people that had the mask, and Thea killed Malcolm Merlin, who is her father. So funny. But by the end of it, they all had to leave. First, Thea didn't want to leave, so Oliver said he could stay because it was the perfect world. But in the end, she joined them, and they got to Smoke Industries. And there was like this kind of like a wall that pushed them back into kind of the alien spaceship. And before Oliver came through, there was some homage to kind of Roy, homage to Tommy Merlin. So Tommy Merlin technically was in it, and in this timeline he's a doctor. I mean, a lot of people I've seen said that you know who Prometheus is now, but we didn't really find that much out. I mean, you could assume it's a few people. And then Laura Lance was there, her mum, his dad. So it was pretty cool how they showed homage and they respected the heritage of Arrow. So me as an Arrow fanboy, I was happy with this episode. It was so cool. So when they got back on the spaceship, they all woke up, all realised where they were, and they had to try and get out of it. Oliver finds this futuristic alien flamethrower. It's kind of flamethrowed everyone, and then the kind of dominates. Then they got onto the spaceship, and then Ray Palmer was like two click. So once the Wave Rider had gotten, because obviously Felicity and Cisco realised that they could hack the alien technology and realised where they were, they hailed, the Wave Rider hailed the ship, and then Gideon configured the two-click kind of language into the kind of alien invasion is imminent. And this was so obvious because Legends of Tomorrow is a time-travelling show. So the fact that they're going to have the finale on the Legends of Tomorrow, where the Dominators actually attack, is going to be freaking awesome. Can't wait for this episode. It's going to be so cool. And it's so cool that we got Nate Haywood. Didn't get a Vixen in this episode, so hopefully, I've seen some pictures that she is going to be on the kind of battle where we've got the superheroes versus the aliens running against each other, kind of trolling the Marvel, like Civil War, if you like. So that's going to be pretty awesome. So that's my review for this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And a video trailer for episode 9 of Arrow will be up later on. That looked freaking awesome. So good. Not going to talk about that. We'll talk about it later. Anyway, guys, please like for my dog. His beautiful boys. And I actually bought this Deathstroke Funky Pop, especially for Arrow 100, as he's just such a cool character. And we didn't find out if it was Manu who playing him. I don't think it was, to be honest, because as my partner realised that Deathstroke just kept doing the same motion. He like didn't do his kind of. So I think it was just a standing character. It could have been anyone. Bit disappointing that Tommy Merlin wasn't in it properly. But obviously he's on a different show, so that is most likely why. Anyway, such a cool episode. It is Thursday morning. It was on last night, UK time. I have to get up early to watch it. Anyway, guys, peace.